As Socrates famously said, "I know one thing, that I know nothing." The closer you look, the more you'll start to recognize paradoxes all around you. Some of the important truths in life are contradictory on the surface. Things that seem impossible at first glance turn out to be glaringly obvious. It isn't until you look a bit deeper beneath the surface contradictions that the real grains of wisdom emerge. Ready to scratch your head with 7 science paradoxes that keep scientists scratching their heads? No one has figured them out yet. Maybe you might be the one to solve this puzzle. Fermi Paradox. Named after Italian physicist Enrico Fermi, who was famous for creating the first nuclear reactor, this paradox is based on the idea that since the universe is vast and old, and given the sheer number of stars and planets in the universe, it is highly probable that there are other intelligent civilizations out there. So where are the aliens? We still don't know. Since the 1950s, humans have accomplished a lot. We've walked on the moon, sent a probe beyond our solar system, and even sent an electric sports car into orbit around the sun for fun. If we can go from rudimentary wooden tools to these feats of engineering in under a million years, surely there would have been ample opportunity in our 13.8 billion-year-old universe for other civilizations to have progressed to a similar level. Earth should have been visited by aliens already. However, despite our best efforts, we have not yet detected any definitive signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, such as radio signals or other forms of communication. The Fermi Paradox has no easy answer, and there are a number of possible explanations that have been proposed. Some suggest that intelligent life is extremely rare, and that despite the vastness of the universe, we may simply be alone. Others suggest that the universe is filled with intelligent life, but that the distances between the planets are so great that contact is almost impossible. Still, others suggest that intelligent life is common, but it is too advanced for us to detect. So why is the universe silent? Maybe we're about to find out soon as technology advances, or perhaps we've already been visited by some faraway civilization and we just don't know it yet. There have been many unexplained UFO sightings recently, and some believe extraterrestrials are already here. Solid proof of that would put an end to this paradox. The Bootstrap Paradox. Imagine you are a time traveler, but before you go on an excellent adventure, you go into a bookstore and buy a copy of Hamlet, written by Shakespeare. You then travel back in time to London during the Elizabethan era and give the book to Shakespeare. William S. then copies the book and claims it as his own work. Centuries go by, and during this time, Hamlet is printed and reproduced countless times, until a copy of it ends up back in the same bookstore that you bought it from. The question then becomes, who wrote Hamlet? The Bootstrap Paradox is a paradox of time travel that questions how something that is taken from the future and placed in the past could ever come into existence in the first place. It's a common theme used by writers inspiring plotlines in many science fiction films, such as the Bill and Ted movies, Terminator, and Doctor Who. The Grandfather Paradox. This is another famous paradox, which involves you going back in time to take out your grandfather. By that we mean erasing his existence. Now we know everyone here loves their grandparents, but this is only an example. Once again, you are a time traveler. You go back in time when your grandfather was still a child, and you kill him. Therefore, as your grandfather is dead, your father didn't get born, which means you don't exist. If you don't exist, then there was no one to kill your grandfather, so he is alive. As a result, your father is alive, and so you are alive. As you are alive, you go and kill your grandfather. Now, some scientists believe that if this were to happen, you would have now created an alternate timeline, or even entered a parallel universe. Another example of this paradox is Hitler's murder paradox. This time, you go back in time and murder Adolf Hitler before he becomes powerful, similar to the grandfather's paradox where you erase the very reason for your birth. Now, you have erased the very reason you came back in time. In addition, killing your grandfather has a limited butterfly effect, but by killing Hitler, You stop World War II and the Holocaust, and you also stop substantial technological advancements that came along with World War II, which might have paved the path for your time machine technology. Now, if Hitler doesn't exist, why would you travel back in the first place to kill him? Polchinski's paradox. Joseph Polchinski, a physicist, came up with a better way of thinking about the paradox. First, instead of going back in time, find a looped wormhole that goes back in time. Second, shoot billiard balls through that wormhole to see at what angle they come out. Third, calculate a shot that is timed and angled so that, as the new ball goes towards the wormhole, the old one that's been sent back in time flies out and knocks the new one off course, so that it never enters the wormhole in the first place. However, some physics students came up with solutions that avoid any inconsistencies by having the ball emerge from the future at a different angle than the one used to generate the paradox and deliver its younger self a glancing blow instead of knocking it completely away from the wormhole. A blow which changes its trajectory in the right way so that it will travel back in time with the angle required to deliver its younger self this glancing blow. Now here's something that'll make you think about reality differently. Observer's paradox. The observer's paradox is something very strange indeed. And of all the bizarre facts of quantum theory, there are few stranger than Schrödinger's famous fable about a cat that is neither alive nor deceased. For the record, this is a thought experiment only, and no animals have ever been harmed. The paradox describes a cat that is locked inside of a windowless box, along with some radioactive material, a Geiger counter, a hammer, and a container of deadly poison. The radioactive substance has a 50-50 chance of decaying within a certain period of time, and if it does decay, the Geiger counter will trigger a mechanism that breaks the vial of poison, causing the cat to die. According to the principles of quantum mechanics, the radioactive substance exists in a superposition of both decayed and undecayed states until it is observed or measured. This means that until the box is opened and the cat is observed, it exists in a superposition of both alive and dead states. Therefore, until the box is opened and the cat is observed, you would not know if the cat was alive or deceased. And so until the box was opened, the cat would be both alive and deceased at the same time. How is this possible, you ask? This is because simply looking at matter actually changes the outcome of what happens to it. You can't know something is there unless you see it. Cause and effect paradox. The cause and effect paradox, also known as the causality paradox, is a very big philosophical problem that arises when trying to establish a causal relationship between two events. It poses the question of which event occurred first and which caused the other, leading to a paradoxical situation where it's difficult to determine which event was the cause and which was the effect. The paradox arises when there are two events, A and B, and it's unclear which one caused the other. In other words, if A caused B, then A must have occurred before B. But if B caused A, then B must have occurred before A. This creates a circular loop of cause and effect that's difficult to resolve. One classic example of this paradox is the question of which came first, the chicken or the egg. If the chicken came first, then it must have hatched from an egg. But if the egg came first, then it must have been laid by a chicken. This creates a paradox that's difficult to resolve. In 2014, British scientists used a supercomputer to look in such detail at a chicken eggshell that they were able to determine the vital role of a protein used to kickstart the egg's formation. That protein is only found in chickens. But chickens did not really start as chickens anyway. The very first chicken in existence would have been the result of a genetic mutation taking place in a zygote produced by two almost chickens with amniotic eggs, showing up roughly 340 million years ago, and the first chickens evolving around 58,000 years ago. Others believe the safe bet is the egg came first. Overall, the answer to the chicken or egg paradox depends on the perspective and assumptions that one takes. From a biological perspective, the egg came first, while from a theological or philosophical perspective, the chicken may have come first. However, regardless of the answer, The paradox highlights the complexity of determining a clear cause and effect relationship between two events. Black hole information paradox. You have a piece of paper with some writing on it. If you were to burn the paper, you might think that the information on it is lost forever. However, according to the laws of physics, information is never truly lost. Instead, it gets spread out and scrambled in a way that can potentially be reversed. Now, let's apply this idea to black holes. Black holes are incredibly dense objects in space that have a very strong gravitational pull. When matter gets close to a black hole, it gets sucked in and can never escape. The point of no return is called the event horizon. According to the laws of physics, anything that crosses the event horizon of a black hole is lost forever. This means that any information contained in the matter that falls into the black hole is also lost. But here's the paradox. According to other laws of physics, information is always conserved. So if information can't be lost, then what happens to it when it falls into a black hole? One possibility is that the information is somehow encoded in the Hawking radiation that black holes emit. Hawking radiation is a type of radiation that is predicted to be emitted by black holes due to a quantum mechanical effect. However, it's not clear how the information could be encoded in the radiation in a way that can be retrieved. Another possibility is that the information is somehow preserved inside the black hole. However, it's not clear how this would be possible either, since, according to the laws of physics, the information should be lost once it crosses the event horizon. So, the black hole information paradox is essentially the question of what happens to information that falls into a black hole, the big mystery in physics that scientists are still trying to solve. As we delve deeper into the enigmas of the cosmos, we realize that what once seemed impossible can indeed become possible. And what we thought was achievable might also turn out to be just a fleeting illusion. The universe loves to surprise us, and we're here to share all the awe-inspiring wonders it has in store. Until next time, guys.